Hello, my name is Christine and I'm from Selfless Yoga. Today I'm going to do a headstand practice where we will be going through a tutorial based practice. We'll do a couple drills and we're going to go through how to do headstand by walking your feet in, tiptoeing your feet into headstand. Now, if you have a wall, if you're a beginner, definitely have a wall available that you can do this practice today. A couple of things to think about before we get started is if you have severe high blood pressure, if you have glaucoma, which is high pressures in your eyes, maybe some type of neck injury, bulging disc in your neck, pregnancy, menstruation. About headstand, it's not really about strength, it's about joint stacking. You're trying to stack your hips over your shoulders, over your crown, and of course your legs as well. But the main thing is hips over your shoulder. And when you are upside down, you're balancing, but when you're at a certain point when you are balancing, you really don't feel any weight on your head because you're really focusing on pushing the floor away, protracting your shoulders so you let your head be very light. So when we start, you take your hands and you grab opposite arm. Okay? And you're making a triangle with your hands and you're making a little basket. I always tuck my pinky finger in because for me it feels uncomfortable. And you're using that, your head's in a basket. Okay? So some people, they may slide their arms out. This is not safe or too narrow. You just want to have your shoulders over your elbow in a triangle. That's step one. Step two is to figure out where you're putting your head. I always take my thumb and my index finger and I make an L. I take my thumb right in between my eyebrows and I bring my index finger over my crown and I feel where there's a flat spot. You'll feel it. So you're never on your forehead. You're never too behind. You're on a flat spot on your head. So this is how I get my alignment. And I feel that. Okay, so we kind of know that's kind of step two to think about where your head's going. And so let's get started. So grabbing opposite arm, making a triangle, interlocking. This is bound headstand Shirshasana. Then you take your hand and you put it onto the ground. Then you take your head and you put it into the basket and using your hands as support. Just taking your time to feel where that goes. And then you're protracting your shoulders. You're pushing your forearms down off the ground. Okay? When you are walking into the headstand, you are engaging your muscles. You're engaging your core. You're engaging your glutes. You're engaging your legs. And you're engaging through your shoulders. And that's going to help you to be able to be upside down. It's not about strength. It's about just working through those tips. So saying you're here, you basket your hands before you put your head down. You're not ready for the headstand yet. You can build through here. Just walking you can either stay here and protract and practice that feeling of pushing the floor away. And you can even go forward and back. And you get used to that feeling of the movement within this triangle. Okay. Next one is tucking our toes behind us, pushing the floor away into dolphin pose. Just walking your feet in where you're in a kind of a forearm balance, downward facing dog, and you're pushing. You just get used to that sensation. You can stay here for a few breaths. And that really helped me in my practice. Next thing to think about is the same thing, pushing the floor away. Now we're going to drop our head onto the ground and find that same spot, basking your hands around your head. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, and just walk your feet. Just walk it in, walk it in, walk it in, and then walking it out. Just get used to that sensation of being your head on your head And this is an inversion right there. And walking it out. Maybe walk it in, walk it in, walk it in. One heel to glute and switch. And walk it out and then go into a child's pose. Whenever you end your headstand, we always go into a child's pose to let our body acclimate back to being in a normal position. So take a few breaths here and we'll move on. Go back up. Get our hands back into the position. Get our head on the ground. Pro-chalking, pushing the forearms away from the ground. Tuck your toes. And you look at a spot where it's not moving. You could focus your attention. And you walk your feet. Walk your feet. Tiptoes. Tipping your toes in. And you're trying to get your hips over your shoulders. And when you do, you'll notice your feet feels really light. Maybe you bring one heel in. And you kind of use your toe, rolling over, getting, not bouncing, just rolling it over. And maybe you catch a little bit of balance here. And you can stay here. And then if you feel comfortable, you bring your knees up. And you have your wall behind you that you can put your feet on to get used to this balance. And this is headstand right here. Even here, this is headstand. All right, breathing here. And maybe you say, all right, I want to do more. You lift one leg and then the other. And you're squeezing your glutes, and pushing the floor away. Now, you may have a stress response, okay, because you're in this upside down position you're not used to. So focus on slow and deep ujjayi breaths to activate the vagus nerve, which allows you to relax. So breathe, inhale, and exhale. And maybe you're here for 5 breaths. Whenever you're ready, bring your heels to your glutes. Knees to your chest. Nice and slow and control. Maybe drop one foot down, then the other, and sit back into child's pose. Slow your breath. One more breath. And you slowly come up. Couple of days, if you did join me with doing this practice, kind of walking through it, your neck might be uncomfortable. It's totally normal. Some stretches on your neck will help. So I like kind of stretching my neck after my practice, and it's normal. So always use a wall if you're a beginner, and just get used to being next to the wall. Now the next video, we're gonna go about how to do headstand with a split leg variation. And then we're gonna follow up with another video on pike legs, bringing both legs up at the same time. And so I hope you enjoyed this series, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.